probably going, what? Where are you guys going? I think you're coming this way.
Oh no! Like,
unless he's backing up.
He's picking up probably, yeah. It's like what?
He's probably down there going, where are you going?
All right.
Everybody doing okay? You ready to go?
Yep.
Ready.
Let's do it there. My name is Doug. I'm going to be your boat captain and tour guide for the next 30 minutes or so. We're going to take a nice little ride on the river. Now, before we get going on this tour, though, I just need to cover a few items with you real quickly for your safety. I'm going to ask that throughout this tour that you remain seated and also keep your hands and your arms
They're gonna hear your
either
voice.
on or inside the blue rail that we have surrounding the boat here. Now, we have some narrow space along the way. We just want you to not extend your hands out and get yourself hurt. Also, as a matter of courtesy for your fellow passengers, we ask that there be no tobacco use on board. And the last item is that because we're on water, I'm required to let you know in that blue section in the front of the boat, this is where we keep our life jackets at.
Oh.
We've never had an incident which required the use of them. They're up there just collecting dust.
Ipabusin mo ang kwan sa atin para makita. Oh, bird!
Now, if you're going to spend any time on the Riverwalk today, and especially into tonight, I'm going to ask that you just be very, very careful on these sidewalks because they get really narrow in spots. Now, on occasion, what we also see as a result of that is that we see people get bumped into and then accidentally find themselves in the water. Now, if this happens to you, then here's what you do. You simply stand up and walk out. It's 4 feet deep.
One place to tell you it's 3 feet deep.
This area that we're into now is called the Riverside Lagoon. This is the back patio of the mall right here. Now this is a particularly popular location because 7 days a week, into the early evenings, we have a band that plays back here. You can see them set up to play off to my right-hand side there. It's called the Andrew Fusion Band. They're from Peru. They use nothing more than Latin American wind instruments and mariachi string instruments to generate their sounds here. And this music that you hear in the background here is actually the band CD, and so this gives you a little idea as to the type of music that they play there.
There, that's the
boat exiting our lagoon. Now the Riverside Mall right here, this first opened up back in 1988. This is one of the 10 malls the city happens to have. It's not the largest one here. However, it's certainly by far one of the most beautiful. This has a little over 1 million feet of retail space and over 125 shops in which you can choose from. Now for entertainment, the mall also has the AMC movie theater as well as the IMAX that plays the movie The Alamo inside there. Now as we come out from underneath the bridge in front of you right up there, look over to my right-hand side, and right about the sidewalk, you're going to see a bronze statue. Now you should be able to see that statue right about now there to my right-hand side. The statue there is of St. Anthony, and that was a gift given to the city of San Antonio from Portugal in 1968.
San Antonio.
That was the year when San Antonio hosted the The significance of the statue is that when they first arrived here on June 13th of 1691, according to the Catholic calendar, that was the day of the feast of St. Anthony. And so that's how they came to name the river here San Antonio, which is Spanish for St. Anthony. And later on, the city adopted that same name as well. And then in the 1800s, San Antonio and the surrounding communities all became German settlements. And when they arrived here, they were looking for a way in which they would be able to worship in their own name.
Now,
in order to do that, they had to build the very first Catholic church right here on the San Antonio River. As we come along here, look up to my right-hand side through the trees, you see the steeple of that church in that far back area there. This is the St. Joseph's Catholic Church that opened up back in 1868. The church itself is actually open to the public, and if you go inside of it, you'll find some very beautiful stained glass windows But they brought with them from Munich, Germany. Now the waterway that we're currently traveling onto right here is actually not part of the river. In fact, this entire back area is all man-made. In 1968, San Antonio hosted the Hemisphere World's Fair, in which all the activities for it were in this far back area that we just departed from. And with them anticipating over 7 million visitors, they were looking for a way in which to be able to transport the people from those activities up here to the river, which is just beyond that stone walkway bridge right there in front of us. Now they decided the way to do all of that was simply to have this section of the earth that we're into now dug out. Again, this is about 4 feet deep. This has a concrete bottom to it as well as concrete sides. And when they finished digging, they had river barriers that would ferry the people back and forth. It was such a major hit they decided after the fair shut down that they would go ahead and keep this area open. Made it a permanent part of the tour of everyone. Wow. Boat exiting that day.
Mary.
Now to come out from underneath this bridge right here, we're going to enter into the natural portion of the San Antonio River. Now this too is about 4 feet deep. This river has always been here. This has all the natural elements of any other river. We have fish in here. They're called sunfish. Now we also have turtles, and there's even been 1 or 2 snakes spotted. So if you happen to fall in, just make sure you check your pockets as you come out that you're not bringing out anything you wouldn't want to keep. Now we come out from this bridge right here, off to my left-hand side, you're going to see the Hilton Hotel. Now the Hilton Hotel over here, this was built specifically for the 1968 Hemisphere Fair. 9 months prior to the opening of the fair, they had booked out 500 rooms, but yet they hadn't even begun to build it. And so they got busy and built this entire hotel right here in 202 days.
202 days.
They actually opened it up 2 days prior to the opening of the fair. Now the way they did it so quickly is that they built the first 4 floors right outside there. All those individual rooms up there that looked like cubicles were being built separately offsite 8 miles south of us. When they had the rooms completed to include all the electrical, the plumbing, as well as the basement and furnishings, they brought the rooms in on flatbed trucks where they had a large crane and basically just started to stack the rooms right on top of each other. And they built this entire hotel just like a little Lego building. And when it was completed, it was put into the Guinness World Book of Records as the fastest built modular building. Now right in front of you now is La Villita, Spanish for little village. This area here is where they housed the Spanish soldiers and their families in the 1700s. The 1800s it became a German settlement area, and today, if you haven't discovered it already, you can come inside this theater, take those 7 stairs that you see to my left, and in that back section find a nice little village of arts and craft shops back there. This theater that we're into here is the Artisan River Theater. It's an active theater that can seat 800. Look off to my right-hand side, right behind the stage, you see 5 bells. These 5 bells that you see back there represent the 5 missions of San Antonio. And the River Theater right here was completed in 1940, and in 1970 they dedicated it to Robert Hugman. He's the father of the Riverwalk. He's the conceptual architect for everything you see throughout here. Now he was born and raised in San Antonio, went off to the University of Texas in Austin, where he earned a degree in architecture. In 1929, at the age of 27, he returned to San Antonio, where he teamed up with the Conservation Society group, and together they convinced the City Council then to approve his plan. Now this downtown Riverwalk area that we're traveling onto here is 2.5 miles around. And though the plan itself was approved in 1929, the actual work wasn't completed until 1941. And when they finished it, though, they did it for a cost of $430,000. And a pretty nice investment here. The bridge that we're coming underneath is the Presa Street Bridge, and Presa in Spanish means blockade or dam. In the 1700s, we had a dam here that diverted the waters of the San Antonio River to the 5 missions. And as we come along here, look over to my right-hand side. You're going to see a little iron sculpture right here called Father Mancionero's Table. And that was placed there in 1991 on the 300th anniversary of the first Catholic Mass conducted on the San Antonio River on June 13th of 1691. And right underneath this bridge right now is called Old Mills Crossing. In the 1800s, we had a grist mill on the right bank, and this portion of the water here is the shallowest part of the river. This has a hard, flat bottom to it, and so people with wagons used to come from miles away to cross here. They found they could do so without having to unload everything and then having to reload it when they got to the other side. Now as we come around this little bend, look straight ahead, you'll see a red brick building with a tower with a scaffolding surrounding it. Right there in front of us, this is one of the oldest buildings on the Riverwalk. This is the Bexar County Courthouse that opened up back in 1896. This is actually one of the oldest functional courthouses we have in Texas here. And one of the more unusual buildings, at least architecturally, is this one to my left, called the Tower Life Building. This opened up in 1929, and if you take a look at the very top up there, you see some very decorative gargoyles that serve as water spouts. They collect the rainwater, and as they drain out, they'll drain into the corners of the buildings where they have the drainage pipes located at. Here to my right-hand side now is the Homewood Suites from 1919 to 1963. That was a warehouse for San Antonio Drug Manufacturing Company. In 1995, they renovated the building, at which time then they opened up this 158-room hotel you see here. As we come out of the bridge, you look over to my right-hand side, you're going to see the International Building. From 1968 to 1998, that was the San Antonio Public Library. And today we have offices here that conduct international relations between Canada, Mexico, and the United States. Now the way they control the water levels in this back area and maintain this 4-foot depth is through the use of floodgates. Now as we go through this archway in front of you here, we're going to go through what is called Floodgate 4. Now the floodgate itself is actually sitting right on the bottom of the river, right about here. Now when they want to ensure that there is no water that can return to this back area, they raise that gate up in an arc-like fashion. Just like if you look back at the sides of the walls, you see how that gate operates right there. Now when that gate is fully in place, that would then block everything from entering into this back section, and instead it's going to push all that water then south right behind us here. And this is where it flows for about 138 miles into the Guadalupe River and another 10 more miles into the Gulf of Mexico. And right now we're into what is called the Flood Control Channel. This portion right here is man-made. This came about as a result of a flood that occurred in 1921, in which there's substantial damage done to the downtown area. The city came up with a plan to protect the area by having this portion of the earth right here dug out. Now they then wanted to take the dirt being dug out here and actually use that in order to fill in that Horseshoe Riverwalk area that we just came out of. And luckily for us, though, we had two individuals by the name of Emily Edwards and Rita Maverick Green who didn't agree with the idea of eliminating what we call the downtown Riverwalk. And so they formed the Conservation Society Group in 1924. Now, it wasn't until 1929 when they teamed up with Robert Hugman that they did manage to convince the City Council to approve his plan and this able to save that downtown Riverwalk area. Now, if you look to my right, this 850-foot sidewalk right here is the latest addition to the Riverwalk. This is a gift given to the city by the Joy Plaza Hotel. This allows for pedestrians to remain on the river level as they walk from one end of the Riverwalk to the other end. And as we drift by, look over to my left and up these stairs, that back area is called the Main Plaza. This is actually considered to be the center of the city, and this was the site in which the first municipality for Texas was established in 1731 by Spanish settlers from the Canary Islands. Now the reason why the river itself is so narrow and shallow is simply because we're so close to the origin of it. If we were going straight ahead 4 miles, you'd come to where there's a spring coming from underground. This is being fed by an underground lake. It's called the Edwards Aquifer. And it was aquifer itself is 180 miles in length. They have spots where they've never found the bottom to it. It is the source of water not only for the San Antonio River right here, but for the entire metropolitan area as well. And the river will form up at that point, flows 4 miles south, and then enters into the second floodgate right in front of us called Floodgate 3. Now this particular floodgate in front of you here operates like a little garage door right here. So when they activate it, they're going to lower that entire top unit down. This takes approximately 15 minutes for it to be in place. Now when they have this locked in, it will actually seal out any waters from entering into this back area. And when 3 and 4 are activated, then this entire back section that we're coming back to
Look at that thing. Nasa
will be
building ang
completely flood-free.
may tubo sa building.
The building that you see to my left-hand side now is the Drury Inn, and that opened up in 1921 as the City Public Service Building. 4 months after they opened the doors is when the flood occurred. They had to move everything from the first to the second floor there. And to give you a better picture as to how much water was racing through here during the 1921 flood, the water has finally crested. This bridge that we're now coming underneath was totally submerged in underwater. This gives you a little idea as to the time what the city was faced with here. If you look over to my right-hand side as we come along here, you're going to see the Aztec Theater. The Aztec Theater there opened up in 1926 playing silent movies. The theater has gone through some renovation work in which they've reopened it now as a performing arts center. Now on the weekends they have a classical country music show they play there, which is called the San Antonio Rose Live Show. Now right next to the Aztec, that white brick building that you see up to my right-hand side is the Watermark Hotel. This is the site of the Al Frank Salary Company, where at the beginning of World War I they employed over 500 employees who made all the saddle and leather requirements for the British, French, and the American cavalry forces. And to my left-hand side is the La Maison Hotel, and opened up back in 1853 as an off-road school. Later on, that became part of the St. Mary's Law School, and then when they outgrew it, it moved to their new location in 1966. They sold the property then to 2 law students who in turn renovated it and opened it up as the hotel you see here. As we come out from this bridge right here, I got a treat for everyone.
Kita ka sa building?
When we come out from this bridge, look over to my left and then look straight up. Now you're going to have an optical illusion of a 24-story freestanding wall that come crashing down on top of us here.
Building right up there.
Now that building that you see right there is the Nick's Medical Building. That first opened up back in 1930. That provided San Antonio with its first full-service hospital. The building itself is built in a triangular fashion so that all you see at any one time is just that one wall. And now that's what gives it that two-dimensional look to it now. As we come along here, this building that you see in front of you right now is the Hyatt Regency Hotel. When this was being built, they restricted the height of it because just on the other side of it is the Alamo. And they wanted to ensure that in no time would it ever cast a shadow upon it due to the Alamo status as a war memorial. Now, if at any time during your stay at the Riverwalk, if you find yourself in this area here and you wanted to get to the Alamo, the quickest and easiest way to do that would be to enter into these doors that you see over to my left-hand side right here. Now, if you enter through those doors right there, you'd enter into the Hyatt Regency's lobby, which is an atrium that is full of waterfalls and gardens. That takes you right into where the Alamo is located at, just on the other side. Now, from the 1800s until the early 1900s, San Antonio and the surrounding communities were German settlements. They left their mark in a lot of different locations, however, no more so than the building that you now see to my right. This is a casino club building that opened up in 1927 as a German social club. Now today, on the first and second floor, we have a nice restaurant for everyone. And this area that we're into now is called River Square. This was renovated in 1972. Now, prior to renovation, all the dining you see throughout here were inside each of these restaurants. And they completed the renovation work. That's when they brought the dining out to the terrace as well as the river level. This serves to enhance everybody's experience throughout here.
Paningot na siya. Sorry.
And as we come along here, you look over to my right-hand side, you're going to see a rotunda building called the Clifford Building. In 1941, when the River Walk was completed, Robert Huckman, the architect, moved his office to the first floor of that building, just to show the businesses who have been reluctant to open up here that the River Walk was in fact free of any flooding. Second boat entering that man. Restaurant in my right-hand side here is the Casaria restaurant. It was the very first restaurant to open the doors in the River Walk. They actually did so back in 1946. They were also the very first restaurant that provided for dining here on the river level. And so they have been, and they continue to be, the pioneers for all the others to follow.
Ibalik ka dito, te? No. Ako ba? Ako ka-feel.
Now, if you have anybody on board who would like more information about San Antonio, or if you have any questions that you would like to have answered, then I would invite you at some point during your stay to return back to this building that you see over to my left-hand side right now. This building is our Chamber of Commerce. They would be more than happy to answer your questions for you, and more than capable of providing you with all the information that you might be looking for as well, all inside that building. Now to come around this little bend right here, I'd like for you to look straight ahead and look up right about now. And right in front of you, you see the Marriott River Center Hotel up there. In 1985, Marriott wanted to begin construction of that building that you see there. However, they had a slight problem that they needed to overcome. And that is, there was a hotel that was already on site there, which is called the Fairmont Hotel. Fairmont had been open since 1905. It was on the historical registry list. They couldn't just tear it down, they had to do something with it. And so after 2.5 years of litigation and planning, they came up with a solution where they brought jacks in. Now they jacked out this 3-story all-brick building weighing over 1,600 tons. And then slid dollies underneath it with pneumatic air tires, and when they had it safely secured, they hitched the Fairmont Hotel down the San Antonio roadway where, over a 5-day period, they moved it 3 blocks to its new location, which is at Nueva and South Alamo. They did all of that without losing one brick, and that then allowed for the Marriott to begin construction of that hotel up there. We're about entering CCX. Now look up to my right-hand side as we come along here. You'll see up there a freestanding tower called the Tower of the Americas. And this tower that you see up there is actually the second highest standing tower in the United States, second only to the one located in Las Vegas. That tower is 750 feet high. That has an observation deck up there as well as a restaurant that fully rotates every hour. And it gives you a nice little panoramic view of the entire metropolitan area right up there. Now this area that we're just now coming into is the Henry B. Gonzalez Convention Center area. Henry B. Gonzalez was the very first Hispanic elected into the House of Representatives. He's from San Antonio. And one of the major industries for the city happens to be conventions, and as a result, they have pumped a lot of money and a lot of resources into this back area. The convention center itself is right over to my right-hand side as well as straight ahead. This has over 1 million feet of media space along with the state-of-the-art audio and graphics here. The building to my left right now, this is the Lila Cochran Theater. This is named after the first woman mayor of San Antonio, who served 3 terms during the 1970s and 80s.
Yeah.
And right in front of you now is the Convention Center Lagoon. If you wanted to go back to see the tower, come into this area here, stay to my left. Follow that sidewalk into the very far back, where you would then find a set of stairs that leads up to where the tower is located at. Now in 1968, when the fair was opened up, the area directly in front of you right now was all waterway. And they had none of the obstructions that you see here today. The river ferries that I told you a little bit about earlier would come in here, but they would travel to the very far back, where they would then enter into a boat that was surrounding the tower. Now they would drop off all those that wished to see the activities and picked up anybody who instead was looking to get back to the river. When the fair shut down, they filled in the boat and redesigned this back area, where as you can see, there's no boats that can get back there any longer. This water that you see being brought into in this back area right here, this is recycled water. This allows for them to aerate the river, and it provides the oxygen that the wildlife needs in order to survive. And right in front of you right now is actually one of the biggest obstacles for our boat drivers, because when they built this, they built it at an angle without taking into consideration the full length of our boats. Now, the idea of this is that you bring the nose of the boat in between those 2 guards right there. You would then do a slight little kiss of that right guard there. Allows you then to slide the boat through without smacking that back of the wall. Just like that. Now, as we come out from underneath this bridge, look over to my right-hand side. You look up on top of the theater, you're going to see a very beautiful mosaic up here. You can best see that as we get past this set of trees here. This mosaic that you're going to see by looking up to my right is called the Coming Together of Civilizations. Now, this is a gift given to the city of San Antonio from Mexico for the 1968 Hemispheric Fair. Now, the way they built that mosaic there is that they used 2x2 panels that weighed over 90 pounds each. They put all the blanks up there to ensure everything would fit, and when they were satisfied with it, they then took them down individually and shipped them off to the artist who was down in Mexico City. Now, he hand-placed each and every little tile associated with that mosaic, and that took over 450,000 tiles to create that. Whenever I drive by it, I always like to tip my hat to the man, because that took unbelievable patience in order to create that work of art there.
Yeah, it's a long week.
A boat exiting CCX.
Oh, sorry. That's alright. It's okay. I didn't notice it, sorry.
Well, folks, as we come around this corner right here, our tour is slowly coming to an end. We're going to come out from underneath that bridge that you see in front of you there. I'll take a right turn, and we're going to be right back at the dock in which we departed from.
There you go.
So while I'm bringing the boat in, if you would, please use this opportunity to look around and make sure you have all your personal belongings with you, that you're not going to leave anything on the boat here.
Okay.
In addition, I'm going to ask for all of you to please remain seated until such time that I can safely dock in. And once I have everything securely tied off, at that point, I'll then let you know that you're free to exit here.
Ama si Uncle Steve ito eh. Ah, si Uncle Steve. Dito. Wait ah.
I'd like to thank all of you for joining with me this afternoon. I certainly hope that you had an enjoyable ride, and that you also found the tour to be informative for you as well.
Daddy.
And for a job well done, our drivers appreciate your tips. And we're going to be docked and tied off for you in one quick moment here.
Wave ka siya. Babay pa siya. Nagkuhan-kuhan naman yung Uncle Steve. Ibidyuhan ako.